How you boys doing? This here is Lord Thaddeus Craig, or Wes Vic, obviously. I'm going to talk about this is going to be a character analysis. And this is what I wanted to do for a while. I just never really did much of a study on him until recently. And it's very interesting. This, of course, is the Warhammer 40k lore, if you know what I'm talking about. It's very interesting. Now, 40k itself, of course, you guys know is a game. You know, it's a massive role-playing game. There's been books, so many books just written on the lore. It's amazing. But I'm going to talk about the one man who everything surrounds. A lot of the stuff is stuff he never asked for. I'm going to talk about the Emperor of Mankind himself. Who is this guy? Who isn't he, man? You're talking about a man who is immortal. He is what's called a perpetual, if I remember right. These are beings that they can damn near be taken out to the molecule and they'll come back. Think of a mutation of some sort. This man the origin stories for him are more than one, and of course many of them have been redone throughout the years as Games Workshop, of course, updates the lore and does different things like that. But one that really sticks to me is very interesting. Now, this is before our modern history or anything. We're talking like probably before the time of Babylon, but all that. But either way, these shamans, they knew that there would be some very bad shit coming in the future. So what they did was, these are beings with psychic power. They could do things that we would call magic, but it's actually just massive psionic energy, spiritual energy. And what they did was they sacrificed themselves in a big mass sacrificial ritual. And what they did was and what happened was they were reincarnated as one being, an immensely powerful individual. Now, his true name is not really known too much. There have been mentions of his name being Neoth. So that's what I'm going to call him to a degree. So anyway, Neoth, he sees things. Of course, he has the sight. He sees things way in the future. We're talking about a man who is very capable of emotion. People think, he's just this, this warlord or whatever. He has no compassion. He has nothing. No. That ain't the truth. The reason he did those things was for a reason. Think about it. You are a man, right? You have this unlimited power. You can basically, and the thing is, it's not just physical. This man can appear as anything that he wants. He can literally the ultimate mind over body. He can shapeshift. You're talking to me. You want to trust me, Neoth, man. This dude is beyond, a skinwalker. Okay, he wants to look like something. He can, and he can literally become it. This is the power this man has. Okay, so you're talking about a fella that has done a lot throughout his life. See here. Supposedly, his father, I want to say, was murdered. His biological father was murdered, and he didn't emotionally invest. He killed the person with I think telekinetically stopped his heart. He avenged his father's death, I think. Now, don't quote me on this, but he didn't put his emotion into it because that would have fed because the warp. That's something else I'm going to go into later. But think of that as literally a realm which is powered by quite literally the thoughts as well as emotions of people, sentient beings. Humanity especially. But we're getting off on that. So basically you're talking about a dude that has literally he knows what's out there. He was created to stop that mess from happening, like from the warp getting so corrupted. He had no choice but to do what he needed to do. Now think about that. Now you're talking about a man who's probably had endless families, people he's loved, adored, he's a human being like anyone else. He's had family, he's had lovers, children especially. And think about it. These children of his, they may inherit his immortality, but most likely they don't. He's kind of a being all unto himself. Think about that, man. You have someone you would adore, you love. And then they grow old and they die. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it, not truly. I mean, true, he can alter reality to a point. He can do all kinds of stuff, but I don't think he can really, that's really involving himself. And of course, getting his will pushed forward, believe me, this guy wants to be a conqueror, which he later would become. Trust me, only us could do it. We have to understand, he saw people he loved die. He saw the devastation religion cost mankind. Now, he silently would, like I said, take the forms of different people, live their lives, doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes. And honestly, I think Neos didn't really want to take the burden that was pretty much granted to him, if you know what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not comparing him to the Son of God here. I'm not. But you have to think about that, man. Jesus himself, when it was his time to be on the cross, he wept. He wept. And I'm a little emotional about this because I'm kind of trying to capture the point of what I'm trying to get across. He wept. He didn't want that burden. Of course, for the good of mankind, he did. So you got to think about that. You're thinking about a man he's old by this point, ancient beyond comprehension, eternally young. He's seen everyone he loved die. He's seen religion completely put mankind back to the Stone Age over and over and over again. And then you have to take this into consideration. Now, what happened then is, of course, we get technology. And we're going into AI and things like that. And, of course, you have to understand 40K is 40,000 years in the future, right? So you're talking about advancements beyond real comprehension. And, of course, people who are known as psychers, of course, the Emperor is one of the first psychers to ever exist, and damn sure the oldest one, and definitely the most powerful. Sorry about y'all, I'm just being emphatic. Definitely the most powerful, right? So you're talking about someone who he's not wanting to do much. He's like, man, I don't want to do this. I want to live what little life I can. But then AI takes over. Something to think about. And, of course, you have chaos, the forces of chaos, which it's anti-order, it's anti-existence practically. And, of course, you have all that negative energy possessing the machines that we're using to do our work or whatever. And there's a big, nasty, think doom thinking machines. You know what I'm talking about? Basically, these machines, I forgot what they were called. They weren't called the Men of Iron. That's a Space Marine chapter, I think. But I might be wrong on that. But either way, these machines turn on mankind and we're damn near destroyed. Neoth is like, okay, enough is enough. I'm done. So what he does is he starts crafting. He's been working on this for some time. So he gets other perpetuals. He gets other beings similar to himself. He kind of, there's another guy. I don't really know much about Malkador. He is ridiculously powerful, though. And he's been with Neoth for a long time. I don't really know the story about him. But I will look him up later. So anyway, you have Neoth, who has finally come up with a plan. He's like, okay, first off, AI, no more. And the thing is, by this time, humanity is scattered, throughout the galaxy. So you have many, 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 many worlds that have been settled and colonized, of course, and cut off from what's known as Holy Terra at the time, or Terra, which is Earth. So anyway, what he does is he starts to build a plan. Neoth decides, okay, enough's enough. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take over. And that's exactly what he does. First off, I've noticed that his children, the Primarchs, they're biologically his kids. But they are not through normal process, I'm saying. It's not through sexual contact with anyone. What he does is he does it in the lab. And the thing is, I can understand why he did that. And of course, he would also tell his children sometimes, look, you guys ain't my kids, you're my tools for my will. Part of that was, people may think now that's megalomania and all that, and it's possible. You're gonna, if you have this limitless psychic power and you can damn near do anything, you were talking about someone that could put Jean Grey to shame, if you know what I'm talking about, even with the Phoenix. I ain't so sure she could take Neoth. I think he would obliterate her off the map, but that's my opinion. I could be wrong. But anyway, my point is this. You're talking about a being that has lost so much. He's going to have a hard heart. Even in the book itself, the Bible, it says, mankind's days were shortened because, we would grow hard, cold, mean. So I wouldn't be surprised if old Neoth did to a point, but at the same time, you can tell his heart is in the right place. He doesn't want mankind to die. He loves his people. But he cannot take the pain of any more loss like that. So, I also think he was blind to many, and because of that, I think he was in a lot of denial about the things he did. So Neoth, of course, he creates his Primarchs, and then he has another plan, of course. His Primarchs start using their own gene seed and all that. This is once the Primarchs are all gathered under his banner, okay? This is before the Horus Heresy. He got, naturally, the first experiment that Neoth used to take over everything was there were genetically enhanced normal human beings made to super soldiers called Thunder Warriors. They're only a temporary solution, and he killed them. That's pretty harsh right there. But then, my point is, that's after Earth had been retaken under his control. Like I say, he kills the Thunder Warriors. That's pretty harsh, I tell you, but I can understand why he did it. Not excusing murder, but... So anyway, Neoth starts having his Primarchs, and he has people working through genetic manipulation and things like that to create the Space Marines, the first chapters. And I ain't going to go into all that because it would make this video 10 hours, and I ain't in the mood for that. So anyway, he starts building an army. He does all kinds of other stuff too, but everyone knows about the Space Marines. That's why I'm kind of keeping that in the subject. So even then, he's literally he's reconquering worlds, retaking them. And the thing is, there's alien beings, and they don't like mankind at all. And he knows this. So he's having to literally run acts of genocide against different things. And the thing is, it's the stuff he's seen. I'm not excusing bad behavior, but you have to understand, this man did not want this. This is a man who never wanted it to begin with. But he knows now it's time to start moving. He's like Cain Marco, ain't nothing stopping him, if he can help it. And so literally, he builds an empire. And the thing is, because of the demons of his past, it blinded him to several things. That fear of loss, I think, was one of the biggest things. Look up the Horus Heresy if you want to know about all that. But either way, he literally was injured to the point where he's literally a skeleton sitting on the Golden Throne. That Golden Throne I'll go into later on, because that, again, is just so much lore. It's ridiculous. But that Golden Throne is literally what powers the Astronomicon. And that is literally a beacon for everyone to know where Earth is. That way they can keep in contact, the other planets can keep in contact with each other, if you know what I'm talking about. It's literally the ultimate compass to guide you through space travel. And he is it. And the thing is, I can tell you right now, another thing that eats at him is every day, I want to say thousands upon thousands of psychers are sacrificed to him to keep him alive. And again, this is something, I'm just conjecturing, I'm just saying, and also something else to really think about. In the main lore, mankind has become something he despised. They're worshiping him as a god. He didn't want that. That's something else to think about. So part of me thinks he may even be able to revive himself. Of course, it wasn't just his body that was damaged, it was his spirit to a degree. He was hurt by Horus. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons, that's that final betrayal. I think maybe there's more power in him than you might imagine. This is a man who could literally go toe-to-toe with gods and kill them. He did. You know what I'm talking about. The Chaos Gods were terrified of this man. For good reason. Because he hated them. He wanted them dead. So, believe me, they're quite thrilled right about now and all that shit. But at the same time, I think there's a reason he didn't reform. He was done. But at the same time, I think he's just so traumatized, he's not even aware of what mankind has become. I'll tell you right now, if he ever gets a chance to awaken, I think he has the power to. Let me tell you, I think mankind will be screwed, man. He'll start building things from the ground up, or he may just say, I'll wash my hands of you and walk away and leave mankind to its fate. Either one, when it comes to Neoth, he's a character I respect. The Emperor of Mankind, man, he's a badass character, but he's not the warlord or whatever everyone think he is. This is a man who is complex. He's tormented with loss, suffering. Everyone he's adored, gone or betrayed him. How would you act? I think I wouldn't want to do much either. That is my character analysis for the Emperor of Mankind. Now, like I said, I can go all over the place, but I'm not going to. I think I got across with what I did to say. You guys be blessed and you be safe.